Hi, this is Bob Shami. I arrived to the States in 1984. I still remember that day, if it was like yesterday. Full of excitement, dreams, ambition, and lots of fears. Literally, I would say, one step forward and two steps backwards. I was walking around in the airport and contemplating going back home again. But I guess my ambition and my hunger and my excitement was a little bit more stronger than my fear to go back. And that's my life always been, going forward. No matter how hard it was and how tough it was and how many times I fall down or I failed, I always stood up straight and continued. So from Kennedy Airport, I waited a few hours in the airport and I took another flight to Boston, took a taxi to the hotel. I couldn't sleep. I remember I cried. I wanted to go back home again. I really cried that night. But then I fall asleep. I guess I cried so much that I fall asleep. And I woke up the next morning, fresh, ready, excited. I registered in high school. I found myself a high school. I registered at a high school, got myself a job. I don't want to get into details. It might get a little boring, but you know, the normal things: school, place to live, couple of jobs, 2, 3 jobs maybe, not sleeping much, you know, learning the language. In '86, I took a trip with a friend of mine to New York City. And I tell you, I only spent a day here. And I fall in love with New York. I fall in love with it. I mean, to me, it was wow. City, people, the traffic, the excitement, the stores. It just was full of life. I came here and it was full of life. And I didn't want to go back, but I had to. I stayed 6 months in Boston after that, and I decided to move to New York. I moved to New York, find a place to live, job, many jobs in New York, but they got better slowly with time. And obviously, the thing that most I never thought of until later, which is the experience and the character that I built. You know, I built a better character, I would say. You know, it made me more of a better person, more humble, more appreciative of things that I worked for and life in general and many things. But I know one thing that kept me going. I always kept my eyes on the prize, you know, always kept my eyes on the prize, which is becoming a better person, you know, getting up that mountain, try to get to the top, which is still, I haven't reached the top. I'm still climbing. I'm still falling down though, but it hasn't been easy. I met a guy that works on Wall Street and we became friends. Eventually, with my persistence and stubbornness and wanting better, I convinced him to help me to get a job at Wall Street, and I did. I needed what I needed to do, the license, the whole thing. I got licensed and certified. I became a broker. And from there, I got a job at a bank. I worked there, I think, for about a year or two. But to me, that wasn't satisfying enough. I needed to progress more in life. I needed more progress in my life. I needed something more. And I always was a big fan of having my own thing, running my own company. And I always was infatuated and kind of always impressed by and fascinated, I should say the better word, about the entertainment business, music, records, and all that. I decided to start my own company. Yes, I did. Pretty crazy, but you know what? That's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do it, and that's it. There's no stopping me.